welcome to my channel. So I took a break for the month of April. I'll explain why in a minute, or at the end of the video actually, and I wanted to come back and do a life update, chat about what's been going on, if anything's changed, which I feel like not a lot has, but just kind of catch up on what's been going on with school stuff and anything personal. So in school, my district has been going hybrid since November 30th. We'll be hybrid until there's a case or enough cases that we have to shut down. We go back to remote. When enough time has passed, we go back to hybrid. So it's been just a rough transition going back and forth constantly. And like, I'm used to it teaching wise. I don't plan any differently between working from home or being at school. What messes me up is just kind of my routines just get mixed up with, you know, not needing to prepare lunch the night before if we're going to be remote. And I'm a little bit more leisurely in the morning, to be honest, which I love about being home. I love being home in general to teach, just especially with this year. Like if we could go back completely to normal, I would do that in a heartbeat. But if we're in this situation, I'd rather stay home. It's a lot easier for me, like technology wise, especially. This past week, we made it a whole week of hybrid, which feels like it hasn't happened in a while. And when I'm at school, it's just so complicated because I have my desktop, but it doesn't have a microphone or camera. So then I have to get on from another device, which they gave us Chromebooks for, but Chromebooks are so super limited. So I bring my MacBook, but it's a device from outside, so I can't go on the good network. It has to go on the student network. And that's the only way that I could project my iPad screen, which is what I use because I teach math and they need to see me like working out problems and stuff. So that's what I have. It's easy. It's what I'm used to. When I'm home, no problem. When I'm at school, my computer won't stay connected to the network, so I'm constantly getting booted out of the meets. And even when it does stay on the network, I have a hard time being able to project my screen. So all that to say, I'd rather be home. Plus I could be in like leggings or yoga pants and slippers and, you know, do the same thing that I'd be doing there. As far as the quality of instruction, it's not any better when we're in school just because students can be in the room with us. It's actually a little bit harder because then I have to divide my attention between the students on the computer and the students that are like in the room. Plus I'm not walking around and circulating by my students. I'm staying right by my desk in my little bubble because, to be quite honest, I'm still scared. Vaccinated or not, I'm still scared. So I don't like to get too close to people. The only thing that's really seemed to change was that sports came back in February, because I don't think I've done an update since like maybe December or February, I can't really remember. But sports came back, so we did have more students coming back into the building, but it's still like roughly a third of our population has chosen to come back. The other update, like this one is sad for me, we did virtual snow days this year, which meant that we were working from home during snow days, and we got those snow days added back onto breaks. So not only did we have a guaranteed spring break, because spring break's not guaranteed for us, but it was longer than usual and it was so needed and it was so nice. But our school put it to a vote between students, teachers, and parents. Teachers pretty much said, let's keep the remote snow days, and then the parents and students said they want regular snow days back. So we're back to regular snow days. I'm very disappointed that we can't have nice things, but we're going back to what's normal-ish, I guess. I mean, there's valid reasons for both. I don't know. I'm super disappointed, but it is what it is. Now, the other thing that's kind of interest to people is what's going on with state testing. I see that question so much on Instagram lately. Like, there are certain poll questions that come up from different teachers that are just like, it's okay, someone else just asked that like yesterday, or I just saw that in a person's story before yours. But one of them was, is your state still doing testing? And in New York, they tried to appeal, or I can't even think of the words right now. I've tried filming this so many times. New York City tried to ask the federal government for a waiver. That's what it was, to not have to do state testing. And I don't remember what the result was. It's either it was denied or we just never actually heard back. So our state testing started this past week for grades 3 through 8. I'm pretty sure it was ELA. And what our state has done for testing is they scaled everything back. So for those exams, there's math coming up next month. Students are only doing the multiple choice portions. They're not doing like the full out exam that would take, I think, like 3 days. And then for the high school students, they take Regents exams. There's only 4 being offered, and it's for Algebra 1, ELA, Earth Science, and Biology. But for some reason, they call it Living Environment now. I don't really keep up with the other subject areas, if I'm being honest. So it's being offered. Students can only take these tests if they're there in person. And I mean, there's a better explanation than what I'm about to say, but it's like they're kind of optional. Like, students don't have to take any of these tests. They can move on without them. Basically, as long as students pass the course, they don't have to worry about taking these exams. Another thing worth updating on is, where are we in the curriculum? I've been dragging everything out in all 3 of my classes. So as far as what I teach and when, I do have a scope and sequence, and I plan on releasing it as a free item on Teachers Pay Teachers. So when that is up, I will add that link to the description. It's not ready yet. Actually, that's like a June project for me. But in my on-level geometry course, they would normally take the Regents at the end of the year, which was canceled. But where we got to so far, we finished our volume unit, which is our 7th unit. So we are currently in our 8th unit, which is coordinate geometry. And from here to the end, I'm kind of just taking stuff out. And I even did that a little bit here and there throughout the year. I didn't teach everything that I normally would have, but it was pretty close. I didn't take out a ton of stuff. But now that we're toward the end, I did map out what I'm teaching for the rest of the year in all my classes. And for geometry, with the coordinate geometry and circles, that's what we have left. I took out the things that I'm like, they really aren't going to need that. Beyond geometry, I just focused on like what's really important there. And our 10th unit is constructions, which, like I said, I follow the normal, like, or maybe I didn't say it, but for geometry, I like to follow the Common Core progression. And they put constructions toward the beginning, if not the very beginning. So I like to save them for the end of the year. Students start getting squirrely, so having them do like a hands-on thing, it's super helpful, trust me. So I definitely decided to keep constructions at the end of the year just because we didn't know what was happening for the duration of the year. We had no idea what was going on with Regents exams. And the constructions was the one thing I was worried about. Every time kids asked, are we having a Regents? I'm like, I don't think we can. Like, I can't teach you constructions if we're not in the building. And so we're not having a Regents. Constructions are gonna get skipped completely. In my general geometry class, that's my like remedial geometry class, we got through volume, which was the 6th unit for them. For that class, I follow more of like the traditional geometry curriculum that was set before Common Core. So after volume, the next unit was transformations. We are skipping that unit entirely because when we went remote last year, that was the unit that we were on. So we continued it remotely and it didn't go well. So I'm like, I don't want to subject them to that this year. And really, you know what? They learned that in 8th grade anyway. It's fine. So general geometry is now on their 8th unit, which is coordinate geometry. And we are just focusing primarily on the stuff that they really need to know for algebra because a lot of them are still taking Algebra 1. And we're going to skip a lot of that unit and then go into circles. And again, we're just focusing on like what's really important from that unit and skipping stuff that we don't need. And that class is getting a lot of final review because a lot of students, if the final's optional to boost their grade, a lot of students in that class is going to actually need that. And then in my calculus class, I've really been dragging things out. Somehow, calculus is like the one course where for math, I don't feel like I have to rush through things. Like I feel like I have plenty of time to get through that entire curriculum without any issues. So we've been like dragging stuff out. There are certain topics I did not teach last year. I'm trying not to have to figure those out this year. This is only my second year teaching calculus, and last year I pretty much taught it online. So I'm perfectly happy with not getting through everything necessarily, and it's a college course. So I pretty much set the final now. There used to be a final that was handed to us from our community college. They're not doing that anymore, so we get through whatever we get through. So those are all of the school updates. On a personal note, I announced on Instagram, so I just wanted to announce it here, but I am pregnant with my second child and I'm due in October. I don't really know what else to say about that. I considered vlogging at one point, but decided not to. I've had a hard time in this pregnancy, just in particular with trauma from past miscarriages. So this week in particular, I shared about it on Instagram, but I had nightmares about having a miscarriage, and it wasn't like, you know, sometimes you have nightmares in like the middle of the night, but it's just like part of a dream and then you stay asleep. I woke up from these nightmares thinking it was actually happening like every time, and it was like right before I had to get up for the day, so I was kind of like awake early and then not able to go back to sleep, and then had to go about my day. So this week was just a little bit rough in terms of that, but I am in the second trimester, so we should be okay. And for my last update, this is the reason why I took a month off of YouTube basically, but I was planning on doing a batch lesson planning mini course. I'm still planning on doing it. It's just frustrating because I thought by now I'd be like wrapping it up, and I haven't even started. I've been working on a product line update for Teachers Pay Teachers, and it's my geometry cheat sheets because it's the end of the year. I know teachers need them and I wanted to digitize them, but at the same time there were like little details that have been bugging me for like over a year. So I went back like from the ground up. I didn't completely start over, but like I went back and fixed things, and that took a while. And then I had to redo the slides that are part of that product, and that's done. But now I'm doing like the Google Forms for it, and oh my goodness, it's taking a while. So that has kept me from moving on to this, but I think I'm gonna just do the Google Forms like little by little throughout the weeks and work on the batch lesson planning workshop at the same time, and I'm hoping to get that out sometime in May. So stay tuned for more information about my mini course coming out. And that is all the updates I have for right now. So I hope you're having a fabulous end to your school year, and as always, thanks for watching.